For 5 decades, Gloria Estefan's music has moved the world. This is Let It Loose, a Gloria Este-FAN podcast, the first fan-led show dedicated to her life, legacy, and impact. Lifelong Este-FANs, Carlos, Rob, and Wes explore the songs, moments, and stories that make Gloria an icon. If her music changed your life, then welcome home.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Let It Loose. My name is Rob.
I'm Wes.
And I'm Carlos.
And on today's episode, it's a special one. We are discussing Gloria's impact and her legacy as it relates to pop culture and the music of other artists who came after her. We have two guests who will be sharing two very different perspectives on how Gloria's groundbreaking bilingual career helped pave the way for the future.
Awesome. But before we do that, we're going to go into this week in Gloria history. So take it away, Wesito.
So this week in Gloria history, we're going to Las Vegas. April 29th, 2010, Gloria and Emilio both received their star on the Las Vegas Walk of Fame at the Rio All Suite Hotel and Casino. Rob, have you seen that on your trips out there?
I have. I've been to Las Vegas twice to see Kelly Clarkson. One time, was better than the other. But that's because she canceled all her shows. But the first time I went, I made it a point to find this star, and I'm 99% sure that I found the star, because it was where everybody said that it would be. The star is not in great shape anymore. It's not in good shape anymore. Like it has seen better days. Like there are not just dents missing from it. You can hardly see the names on it anymore because it was Gloria and Emilio together getting a star.
Yeah. And that was the significant thing about it. It was that they released, or they both got the walk of the star them jointly. So
yeah.
That was the big thing because no couple had ever had that.
Right. It says Emilio and Gloria Estefan, producer, songwriter, artist, Las Vegas. Last time I went, there were no decipherable, that's not a word. There were no words that were clearly legible on it anymore. And it's not about their star versus other people's stars. The Las Vegas Walk of Fame is in terrible shape.
Is that something that they still do to this day, or?
It's unclear because it doesn't look like if they still do it that they take care of the stars that are already there. The stars are in disarray. I know that Emilio takes care of his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. That's always been a rumor. I don't know if that's true or not, that he sends somebody to clean it or whatever.
Really? I never heard that.
Are you just making shit up?
I swear to God, I've always heard that. That's not true.
Is this the
I feel like you're making things up.
No.
Is this the tequila?
This is the beginning of the episode, Wes, so I have not had anything to drink yet. No, I could have sworn over the years that it's been a rumor, or that he himself has said that he sends people to clean his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
I mean, Emilio's got the money to do it, so.
But if that's true, then the Las Vegas Walk of Fame has not been as well taken care of by anybody, by any of the stars who are on that Walk of Fame, because their star is one of many stars that are just ready to be repaired. So it was a shame because I really wanted to see it. I've never been to Hollywood, so this would have been the closest for me to take a picture with. So it was sad.
See, I've seen the one in Hollywood, not the one in Vegas.
Yeah, I've been to Vegas twice, and I knew that they had one there, but I never did. Yeah, I never did track it down.
You could be in frend of it, and you wouldn't be able to tell because there are no words on it anymore.
So I would have been. You're saying I would still be searching for it.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, exactly.
All right, Wes.
Thank you, Wes.
To help us dive deeper into this conversation, we're joined by two incredible guests, each bringing their own perspectives. First, my best friend, Angel Max, whose passion and strong opinions about Gloria Estefan's legacy helped spark this entire conversation. And we're also joined by Cally, host of Shakipedia, a podcast dedicated to Shakira, who can speak to how Gloria's influence helped pave the way for artists like Shakira to achieve global success. Let's welcome them to the show. Hello, Angel, Max, and Cali.
Yay! Thank you for coming.
Yes.
Hola, hola.
Thank you
Hey.
guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And as you could see, for anyone that could see this video right now, we have Donde Están los Ladrones behind me, which Cali, we might get into that a little later, but
Sure.
that to me, that's the number one right there. But we
Yeah.
could discuss it later on. We could discuss it later on.
Okay,
So-
we can get there.
Now my question, Robert, where is your copy of the vinyl?
It's in my heart.
Oh, you couldn't be.
I have my copy back there. Come on.
I don't have physical media, Wes.
I know. I have to joke with you about that.
I have more tequila behind me than I have vinyl.
Eso.
That's right. Well, I have to say, I have Angel Max. Thank you so much for joining us because I know that
Thank
you,
you.
I think by now everyone knows that you are not only our biggest cheerleader, but you have your own little podcast after our shows drop and you will share all your thoughts. So we've been super, super excited about you joining us today.
Thank you very much. It's just exciting to be here with you all finally, and also to have our Shaki fandom in our company as well to share space.
I think one thing to know about Angel Max, you're not only a fan of Gloria and many female artists, you're just like a feminist, period. You're always
Yes.
trying to just, lift up women in general.
Absolutely.
And, so that's one thing that I absolutely love about you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I take seriously the responsibility I have in this case as an uncle, as a tío. I have many nieces and nephews as well. But I always tell those friends of mine, as a kind of an aside to this piece right now, who are able to bring children into their lives, whether through biological means or adoption means, etc. I tell these male friends of mine, I tell them, the greatest role and responsibility you will have in your life is raising a little girl. And that's my view. And that's the way I approached in raising my own niece, and the way I hold myself as a role model, a male presence, and in some cases, a father figure for young girls in my life. It's an important role. It's one that I don't take for granted, even though I am not going to have my own biological children myself. I'm too old right now to adopt my own. The only girl child I have in my life is my cat, Lizzie.
Lizzie.
That's right.
But thank you for those words, because I do take that seriously, and that extends further out in other facets of my life, in who I choose to support, such as these incredible women artists like Shakira and Gloria.
Absolutely. And you know that whenever you've come to visit me, my girls absolutely go crazy over you. They adore you. They love their tío Angel Max. Angel, you and I, we've known each other now for this year makes 25 years
Eso.
since our very first meeting, which happened
in Las Vegas.
in Las Vegas in 2001 for the Mandalay Bay concert, the one night only, which, Rob, if I'm not mistaken, you went to the one night only
In Connecticut. That was my first Gloria concert ever.
Wow.
So I was actually traveling to Las Vegas by myself. So this was right after 9/11. I had never been on a plane before. This was my first time going on a plane, traveling by myself. So I was scared shitless. And I make it over there, and there's a group of fans called the Divas. And I'm going to Vegas, meeting the Divas, not having a clue that the Divas, a bunch of guys, were gay.
Yes, we are.
They were gay men that called themselves the Divas. I had no idea. We end up meeting. We stayed at the same hotel. We went to the concert. We had front row seats, I think between first row and second row. We had a blast. We had so much fun. And since then, 25 years later, I mean, I can't even say you're my best friend. You're like family at this point. You
Agreed.
are family.
Thank you for that. And I would definitely say one of your best friends, because you're blessed with many people that care about you and hold long-term impactful friendships with you. So I'll say I'm
Absolutely.
one of yours. But thank you for the nice words. Lo agradezco mucho. I really do. And just to think how young you were. Tan joven que eras, you know.
I still am, bitch.
But back
Young
then,
adjacent.
Young
yeah.
adjacent. There you go.
But back then, my dear fellow guest here, he was very young and
And
he was he,
naive.
he was bright-eyed. He was wide-eyed, rather wide-eyed. He had a big expression on his face of wow, I'm meeting these Gloria fans or fanatics, fanáticos.
Mhm.
And so it was really, really wonderful to meet you and see you enter our Gloria fandom.
So, Gloria in the early years,
Yes.
your beginnings, what made
Yes.
you a fan?
Oh, goodness. Well, first of all, I want to share that I'm an older fan. I'm a more established older fan. I'm going to be 57 years old next month. So
You're
I've
just
been with
well
Gloria.
seasoned, that's all.
But it's like Guatemalan blood in me.
There you go.
And shout out to my Chapinas, by the way. But you know, in the late 70s, for me, his music was pretty ubiquitous on Spanish radio. So songs like Renacer and No Será Fácil. That was the first introduction, although it was a more casual thing for me at that point, because you know my mom had control of the music in the house, or what we used to have. Some of you may know this word, radiola. We had a radiola in our living room, and so my mom was controlling the records, and she controlled what was played. So a lot of Julio Iglesias, Ana Gabriel, Juan Gabriel, and a touch of Gloria here and there. But you know, at that point, I was just not too intimately familiar with Gloria, or at that point, Miami Sound Machine. So we're looking at the late 70s. And just to give you a little more context, at that point, what was going on in the US musical market or industry was disco. Disco was the thing. It was making money, it was making cultural societal impact. And then, of course, I want to remind folks, listeners, that disco was deeply rooted in Latin rhythms, Latin percussion.
Mhm.
And so that also caught my ear I think I was 9 or 10 years old by that point in the late 70s, and realizing, hey, this music's familiar to me, or these sounds, or this timbal, or this percussion. So disco's going on, it's raging, and then of course you have a little introduction to Gloria in the late 70s. Now we move into the 80s. I'm a young teenager at this point. I'm now able to buy my own records. What we see now is this huge anti-disco backlash. And to me, I was like, why y'all hating on disco? And some of you who may be my age, either here on the panel or listening out there in Let It Loose land, there used to be those disco sucks t-shirts. I don't know if y'all remember that.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
I
remember
think
that.
my dad had one.
Yeah, and they were widespread.
I know, can you believe?
I never heard of those. So will you
Well,
explain that a little bit?
yeah, because I'm older, I'm bringing some history to the children, child.
Let's get
Educate the
into it.
people. Educate the people, Angel.
People know what time it is. And this is why I think the wonderful hosts here in Lauda have asked me to come on board in this session to just give some, old people knowledge. But yeah, there was this huge disco backlash. And to me, I took that very personally because me, as a Latino born, as Latino born in the United States, and I'm enjoying Spanish music and the rhythms and the percussion, very familiar to me that it wasn't anything drastic in making that change in sounds inside my own house from early Miami Sound Machine. The sonic journeys within those different languages and different genres within those musical genres within those languages, there was nothing that questioned what am I listening to type of thing. So then when this backlash against disco came around, I was like, why are they hating on disco? I'm enjoying disco. I'm enjoying all these other sounds. And then I started to pay attention. Like I started to personalize it. Like, is this something about Latinos you don't like? What's going on here? But I will argue that, as many other people do, that the anti-disco movement was anti-people of color type of thing, because in the United States radio world, radio programmers were getting upset that disco was taking over, and that was threatening what was predominantly rock radio. So when you think of disco, one of the first faces that comes to mind is an African American woman, Donna Summer. You think about another major label, Sal Soul Orchestra. which was heavy in introducing Latin percussion into disco. So I viewed it over time. I got more better understanding of it. I viewed this as an attack on people of color and our sounds and our rhythms. So you move now into the early 80s, and the 80s was just a phenomenal time to be alive as a teenager, as a music buyer, vinyl buyer. Wes, shout out for the vinyl. Thank you for always promoting vinyl. Gloria herself or Miami Sound Machine did not necessarily come out of freestyle. She was more in the mainstream pop world, side by side, simultaneous to the explosion of freestyle. So I found that curious for me later on in the mid to late 80s. Like, there is this huge, successful money making genre of freestyle. And for example, expose at one point. And I kept thinking, well, heck, why isn't Gloria like, swimming in in that pool of freestyle? And so, if I ever get a chance to talk to her again, I'm going to ask her, hey, did you know Expose? Because Expose is Miami based. Did you know or work with other groups like Sweet Sensation and the Judy Torreses and so on? And so, anywho, I started to wonder why Gloria was in one particular lane that she and Emilio and the Miami Sound Machine were carving out and building within the pop mainstream world. But then you had this complementary freestyle world over here. And then what happened in the late 80s, early 90s, another successful, I think, a viable musical genre was killed off again. Freestyle was killed off, but people don't know or remember why freestyle was killed off from radio in the late 80s, early 90s, because it had to make space. Radio programmers, the industry made a decision to kill off freestyle in particular to make room for alternative rock and grunge. So it goes in cycles. For me, who's been around long enough, I saw this cycle first when disco was killed off in radio by rock. And then now, 10 or a decade later, I see it again. This very successful genre of music, freestyle. It's now breaking off, freestyle is breaking off into other shoots like house music. It's now moving into that realm in the late 80s, early 90s. And there you have people of color as well in house music to this day, for example. But then alternative rock and grunge rock killed off freestyle on radio, at least on radio. And then unfortunately, it hasn't recovered to the levels of success, commercial success, or visibility the way it was in the 80s. But meanwhile, Gloria is just moving in her own lane with Emilio and Miami Sound Machine. And she did something along with Emilio, something I think a strategy that was extremely strategic and smart. But let me just stop there so I don't keep hogging the mic before I go further.
No, this is perfect.
You're bringing us right but to what I want to ask you about is you're talking about, you took us to the late 80s, early 90s, and Gloria and Emilio carving out an identity for themselves that's unique, that becomes, from my perspective, the blueprint for other artists to follow, right?
Yes.
So you are a fan watching Gloria transition from, a smaller artist to a bigger artist, to a bigger artist, to a bigger artist, to an icon, right? Like she becomes, her career blows into the stratosphere, right? And what was that experience like as a fan to just watch their star shoot?
Thank you for that, Rob, because as a fan through, junior high, high school, and then college, and I saw that all in the 80s and early 90s for me, being able to be front seat in real time to follow and enjoy the unfolding and development of Gloria's career, musical career. That is exciting. That I've been, at least in the US market, I've been at the front seat of all that. And so for me, it was incredibly exciting because, again, back in the 80s, it was such an incredible time to be alive and to be a consumer of music as a teenager, because there's a lot of exploration going on, and I and along with other people at that time, we were exposed to so many images and artists. I mean, we had Prince, we had Michael Jackson, we had Boy George, Culture Club, Cyndi Lauper, Eurythmics, Gloria. You had all these videos that were now exploding. It was such an incredible time to listen to rock, to listen to rap and hip hop. So as a teenager then, it was incredible to see, not to hear all this music, all these different types of music, but also to see the diversity of the artists themselves. And going back to Gloria, I always knew I saw a Latina. I was seeing a Cubana. I was seeing her on videos and on VH1 in particular. She was very visible. The Miami Sound Machine presence was very visible in the musical landscape and on radio. So I never questioned why she was there. To me, she was just part of the US musical radio landscape and so on. But what I think Gloria did was very strategic. I was looking back at this as I was looking back at my time in the 80s, which is I was never bored and I've never been bored and I never will be bored by Gloria and her music because Gloria and her music offers something for every listener, pretty much every listener. She has adult contemporary. She has English pop. She has English ballads. She has English dance music. She has Spanish pop, Spanish ballads, salsa. Now she got into a little bit there on standards, with the standards album, etc. She's got the holiday music. She's got the children's music, etc. The point is that with Gloria, you cannot get bored with her music because there's some genre of music or style that is offered to any kind of listener.
Mhm.
It's a potpourri of music, albums, etc., available to you if you choose to dive into her catalog. So for me, I was never bored, but I also stopped at a certain time, I think around college, to UC Berkeley Go Bears. And in college, I started to more analyze things like, okay, wait a minute. She's had this incredible successful decade in the 80s, and she's about to launch into even more success in the 90s as your previous awesome guest shared, Quentin. What's that era he called, Carlos?
Imperial,
the
the Imperial
imperialist
Of the
era.
90s
Yes,
and
yes.
so on, yeah. Unbeknownst to me in college in the late 80s, early 90s, that she was about to enter the Imperial era with even more commercial success and creative success and so on. But I started to analyze what did she do in the 80s, and what she did, at least with 3 or 4 specific albums, they had a strategy of what I call the ballad, dance, and pop singles off of each album. Beginning with Primitive Love, 1985, uh, ballad in that case was Words Get in the Way.
Mhm.
It was a huge chart topping, it charted well, very, very well. And then you also had Bad Boy, and that's the one I consider more the pop sound or offering from that album.
Yeah.
And then you had Conga. Now, Conga, I put that more as a Gloria fan. I put Conga, the single off Primitive Love, I put that more as on the dance single offering from that album. And Conga is where she started to do something specific, was reintroducing Latin rhythm and percussion. Because remember, I talked to you earlier about disco. Disco had African American, Black, and Latino roots. In the mainstream pop radio world, Gloria was reintroducing, in this case, Afro-Cuban based rhythms in a major pop song that has stood the test of time. Gloria and Amelia, what they did was introduce Latin rhythms, but specifically Afro-Cuban rhythms. And I think that seeded the ground for continued success down the line. And then they moved on to their next album, Let It Loose, 1987. The same strategy. And those singles all charted well in their respective charts. Now you move on to Cuts Both Ways. Gloria is now solo, and she still, of course, has Miami Sound Machine with her. But the strategy is still there. The formula is still there. A ballad offering, a dance offering, and a pop offering. Into the Light, the same formula is there. You have as the ballad coming out of the dark. Number one. Okay, there's the ballad leading the whole thing off. And then you have a pop, which in my choice, my selection is Seal Our Fate. And the dance version of that album, in my opinion, is Live for Loving You. I'm choosing Live for Loving You because so did Seal Our Fate, and Wes can confirm this. There were 12-inch versions available, or club edits, or extended versions of those songs that did pop up in clubs. Because I remember by that point, I was 21. I was now going out to the gay clubs, and I used to hear Live for Loving You versions in the club. Later on, I used to hear Go Away remixes and so on. And so then that strategy works so well, and I can pinpoint it now to 4 specific albums, the ones I just reviewed, where that formula of ballad, pop, and a dance helped to prepare the ground for her commercial success and cultural impact in those respective genres of music. It's pretty spectacular, the business decisions they've made, because we've heard Gloria and Emilio share in various interviews and so on how they stood up to record executives, or they made their case saying, we want to go English now, or we want to have the Spanish now. Or I really have mad respect for them year after year as I go on in my own life experience as a fan and as a consumer of music.
Yeah.
How phenomenal they are in their business decisions in navigating at times a hostile, if not toxic, industry.
Yeah, absolutely.
yep.
So Angel, you're bringing us to exactly where I want to bring Callie into the conversation a little bit, because Callie, I don't know if like that timeline made sense for you as like you like Gloria, but you're here to talk about the parallels between Gloria's career and Shakira's career. So everything that Angel Max has just laid out for us brings us exactly to the point where Gloria begins to cross over and does a full Spanish language album. So the difference would be Shakira does Laundry Service. But I want to ask you, like, where do you start to see from that history lesson we all just got the parallels in Gloria's early success and rise and strategy and with Shakira's career as well?
Yes. Well, thank you, Angel, for educating us youngins here in the community about some of that history. First of all, you mentioned Donna Summer. And I just wanted to mention that Shakira has said in several interviews that the very first album that she ever bought with her own money was Donna Summer's Bad Girls. So there's like a seed of something there that was planted.
Yes.
And Shakira
Love
has
that.
gone on to do a few disco inspired 70s and 80s inspired songs. Like I'm thinking of Ready for the Good Times on Laundry Service, another
Yes.
track called Don't Wait Up, another song called Cohete. There's a few that have like fusion, like 70s and 80s retro vibes. So I think that a seed was planted there. In terms of Shakira inspiring Gloria Estefan or how they overlap, first of all, I personally, as a lifelong Shakira fan who has loved her since before she started singing in English, I have long known of Gloria Estefan, and I think of Gloria as an iconic legend on her own, of course, just need to say that. But in terms of how she has impacted Shakira, I think that she's like the aunt of all Shakira's fans. Like I think of her as the aunt of the Shaki fandom because
Love
she
that.
Oh, I
really,
like that.
I like
love
that.
that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so sweet.
yeah, she's like La Tia, and then Emilio would be el tío del fandom de los
Yeah,
Shaki
I
fans.
like
Like,
Love that.
That's
así los
great.
veo.
That's so
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah, and I mean, Gloria definitely supported and encouraged Shakira to think more globally because I think at the time that you were just explaining, Angel, Shakira was more like a regional superstar in Latin America, and Gloria helped her think even more globally
Yeah.
than perhaps Shakira had been thinking. And I mean, there's many ways that we could go through and talk about specific touch points where Gloria has impacted her career, but I just wanted to say that I view her as like literally like a predecessor, just like a queen, that inspired many people beyond her own career. And Shakira is definitely one of them.
Well, that's actually interesting. And, I think we know everyone here on this panel, we know exactly that impact that Gloria and Emilio had on Shakira. But can you share with the listeners, a bit of Emilio and Gloria's involvement in Shakira's career?
Yes, absolutely. One of the first things that I'm thinking about is I have been a Shaki fan for so long that I remember being in high school when Gloria subbed and covered for Rosie O'Donnell on the Rosie O'Donnell show.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
remember
goodness.
that.
Love
Yeah.
that.
Best day of my life.
Okay, nice. I'm glad I'm not alone. I was there in front of the TV, eyes glued, okay, watching. And
I recorded it on VHS so I
Oh
so
my
I could go
God.
back and watch it because
I know
I was
that's
at
right.
school. Yeah.
nice. Okay, that lets me know we're all about the same-ish age-ish.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, cool. So, or at least remember that. Rob is like, no, I'm younger than you guys. Okay.
I'm the youngest
Not
and the
by-
grayest. Never forget
Not by
it.
much.
Oh my gosh. Yes. And so for those who don't know, Rosie O'Donnell was like an afternoon, daytime-ish type TV show.
I love
And
Rosie, so.
yeah, she would often have, interviews with people and then have guests on to perform music. And so when Gloria subbed for Rosie, who was out for that episode, she invited Shakira to perform. And that was before Shakira had announced that she was doing an album in English or anything. And Gloria helped translate a small handful of Shakira's songs off of her huge album, Donde Están los Ladrones? And so Shakira performed an English version of her big hit, Inevitable, called Inevitable, as you might assume in English. And so that was one of the first times I was able to see them interact. Like I already knew of Gloria for years and years. my mom was not very musical, but she had like 5 or 6 CDs that she would listen to exclusively. And one of them was Gloria's Greatest Hits album. So I have
Nice.
that like image of the like red and white like cover where she's like wearing this big
Yeah.
like red
Iconic.
skirt or something and a
Yeah.
red little headband or something like seared into my brain. So I knew of Gloria for several years, but that was one of the first times where I think we saw Gloria like advocating in particular for Shakira, because I'm sure that she had a say over who might be that musical guest. And she also helped her translate the exact song that she performed. And Shakira ended up playing that, I think, 1 or 2 more times on another awards show, the Alma Awards, with
With Melissa
Yeah.
Etheridge.
Melissa
Yeah.
Etheridge,
Right?
Oh, I
another
forgot about that.
queer
I did too.
icon, a queer
That's okay.
icon. Okay, lest we forget. So,
I totally
yeah,
forgot about that performance.
yeah. So that was really cool. I believe the songs that Gloria has confirmed that she helped translate were Inevitable. There's a leaked version of Ciega Sorda Muda called Blind Speechless. The lyrics are online. You can look them
Really?
up.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Tu,
Mm.
a
Gloria
ballad.
has mentioned tu, and she's called it you, and that's
Yes.
it.
Yes.
And
And then we know
also
Eyes Like
on
Yours.
We Know Eyes Like Yours, but also on ASCAP, the songwriters website, there is Shadows of You, Sombra de Ti.
Ooh,
Oh.
nice.
But none of those have ever come out.
Yeah, the
I
audio doesn't exist for them, but
Does
some
not
of the
exist.
lyrics, yeah.
I
So
think
that's
I think what was happening was Gloria was trying to prove to Shakira that her music could Is that right, Callie?
yes. Yeah, I think that Shakira has even said that, or Gloria. I've heard one of them mention that
Yeah.
like she needed like proof of concept. You know what I mean? That like she could still be her like quirky Colombian like self, but in English. And Shakira had always had little fragments of different languages on her albums, even before Laundry Service. Like Ojos Así has some Arabic on it. Un Poco de Amor on Shakira's previous album, Pies Descalzos, had a Jamaican rapper singing in English. Even little phrases of English are found on Magia and Peligro. So I think Shakira always enjoyed, different languages. And I'm a diehard for Shakira's little EP called The Remixes, where she translated some songs into Portuguese. So from my perspective, Shakira's first crossover was into Portuguese, but then Gloria helped her go even further into English. I've also heard Shakira mention in an interview several years ago how Shakira viewed Gloria as like a role model, let's say, for how she wanted to manage her career, because Gloria took the time to enjoy having a partner, having a child, really balancing her epic success in her career, but also being like a person with a real home life and everything.
Mhm.
And I know that that had always been a goal of Shakira's. So Shakira was able to be in multiple long-term relationships and now is a mother and has 2 kids and everything. So I think that Gloria gave her like a proof that that was possible,
Yeah.
So
And I love the fact that she, to this day, does not shy away from sharing that with her audience.
Yeah.
That, that Gloria has been an inspiration, that she helped her from the beginning. Um, it's constant. She's constantly sharing that with the public, and that just goes to show the respect that she has, or actually the respect that they have for each other, because it seems like they have the mutual respect. But I love that she always shares where she came from, how she got started, and doesn't shy away from that.
I always look at it this way from my perspective, white boy Wes. You know, so Gloria saw what was coming down the pike, like this is the late 90s, 99 when she was helping Shakira. 98, 99. I mean, at that point, Gloria's career, she had been in for 15 years, and, you know, at that point, things were starting to slow down a bit, and she saw what was coming. And I think that she saw that, what a massive success she could be. And they wanted to continue the Latin trend and make it bigger than what it was. And it's worked. I mean, look what she's doing now. It's pretty wild.
absolutely. I think it's
Yeah.
like Gloria's legacy is not only her own, but like the future success of other
Yeah.
artists is like
Yeah.
part of Gloria's direct legacy. And of course, there's other artists even before Gloria, like Tito Puente, Celia Cruz, that other people that we all, it's
Right.
but there's been a whole community of artists. But I think we have to give the flowers where they're due. And I think that Gloria and Emilio, but since this podcast is about Gloria, definitely deserves all that credit, you know, like a true living legend. And I was recently interviewed on a podcast about Shakira's nomination for the Rock Hall. And at the time that we're recording, Shakira is nominated to be possibly inducted into the Rock Hall of Fame. And I really think that Gloria deserves to be there as well. Like, they are both true living legends for their artistry, but also that they've used their spotlight to highlight and promote other artists. I like that they don't view each other as competition. Like, I feel like Gloria's inheritance.
They're two very different
totally,
artists. Completely different.
Totally.
Yeah, but at the same time, yes, they're different, but it goes back to that mutual respect that they have for one another.
They're like, to us sonically they're different, but like to radio, to award people, they're pigeonholed into their categories, no matter how different their music is, right? So because Shakira was singing in Spanish at the start of her career, she was going to be Latin no matter what, despite the fact that she was singing rock, that she was punky, that she had the black braids, that she was a little bit more Alanis leaning at that point, you know. And Gloria, no matter how her career has deviated or her albums have sounded different, she was also pigeonholed as Latin despite doing the standards or Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me or whatever. So like they very well could have been in competition with each other for years because of how the market will pigeonhole artists despite their best efforts.
Totally. And in particular, female artists. I feel like there's always space, like Angel was saying, for a zillion rock artists. But when it comes to making a festival, we can only have one woman, you know, headlining, or we can only have one Latina, you know, when we know that there's like an endless sea of like female and Latino talent, you know. So
Absolutely. I have a question, and this could be for both Angel and Cally. Do you feel that Gloria gets enough credit for shaping later artists? I see everyone shaking their head no.
Very adamantly shaking his head no.
We'll start with you, Angel.
Thank you for that. And I appreciate all of Cally's input as well, because I'm learning perspectives. Thank you. To give Gloria credit and Emilio is the fact that they saw the long-term trajectory here, which is that, all right, Wes touched upon it. In the late 90s, things have started to cool down, you know, for Gloria a little bit. And so, but what do? We're going to open doors for all the other artists. So then people talk about this whole Latin explosion business, and they leave out the impact and the architecture that Gloria and Emilio put in place for artists like John Secada. Of course, he's part of the whole, you know, Este-FAN enterprise world, but it started off with John Secada, in my opinion. And then from there, you moved into the Rickies and the Jennifers. And then now we're talking late 90s, like Wes mentioned earlier, working and supporting with Shakira. What I'm so thrilled about, because Shakira has a very specific, I think she has a very important role here now in her career. From my perspective as a Gloria fan, Shakira is taking this not only globally the way she has, I mean, my goodness, what she has done with her musical career on a global scale. But she's also helping, Shakira that is, she's helping to cement that Latino voices, Latino music writers, performers like her are here to stay and not going anywhere. And not just in the US market, but around the world. And what I'm thrilled about is that there are no groups of industry people in the US or radio programmers in the US to push out Latino music or Spanish music or push out Shakira, because that infrastructure doesn't really exist anymore for them to do that. Shut down Shakira. Go ahead and try.
Right.
They're not going to.
Good luck
She
with
has a
that.
whole bunch of other avenues, platforms, technology, anything else. She has at her disposal now to keep her global dominance, because she does have a level of global dominance. We are now living in the era of Bad Bunny. Try and shut him down.
Well, I mean, they tried. And were they successful?
No.
What were these people trying to do with the alternate Super Bowl performance? You know, those group of listeners, consumers are still going to be there, you know, but it's going to be nearly impossible now to get rid of or dismiss or diminish Latino music. And having Bad Bunny and folks like Shakira is going to make it nearly impossible, in my opinion, to ever again dismiss, diminish, or get rid of of a genre of music like Latin music, reggaeton, etc. And that goes the same for rap and hip hop. So, but I'm delighted that Gloria's framework and blueprint and so on has laid down this very, very solid foundation for artists like Shakira and so on to keep on inspiring the other future Shakiras. Shakira has a role now to inspire and promote and support other artists, Latino, Spanish-speaking artists, Portuguese-speaking artists, etc. So I'm looking forward to how how her own impact and influence on the global scale will bring forth other artists into the musical landscape.
What part of Gloria's impact and legacy do you think will last the longest?
Well, first of all, the quality of her music. And
Yeah.
Wes, I think you know this very well. The majority of her Grammys have been Grammys earned for albums. And that speaks to the consistency of the musical production of albums. I think if I were a musical artist, a creative, I think if I had a Grammy to choose from, I'd go for an album Grammy because that speaks to the whole body of work
Whole
contained
body.
in that one singular album. So the fact that she has the majority of her Grammys being those for albums, that says a lot in terms of the quality of the music. So I think her musical legacy, that based on quality, music is going to stand not only for Spanish world, but also I think the Latin percussions, the Latin rhythms, the Afro-Cuban rhythms that she's introduced into the lexicon of music in the U.S.
40 years later, you're listening to conga and you have all these TikTokers. It sounds as fresh today
Yeah.
as it
Yeah.
did 40 years ago. It's funny because since we started this podcast named Let It Loose, after one of her albums, Let It Loose, Primitive Love and Let It Loose have been on constant rotation for me. And I think I'm enjoying those two albums more now than I did when it first came out, you know? And that's just a testament to just the work and
Yeah.
the product that they, everything that they put into the love that it's love. You could tell that they love what they do.
Yeah. There's still songs that you can put on, like Here We Are. I mean, it doesn't sound dated. Don't Want to Lose You. It doesn't sound dated to me. They
Absolutely.
still get airplay.
Even the ones that
Can't
sound
Stay Away
dated
From You. Yeah,
have
they
a
don't.
freshness to them, like
Yeah.
because everything comes back around. You know,
Yeah.
all those 80s style like synthy songs are completely back.
Yeah.
I've
Since
said a
never
million
left.
times.
But
Yeah,
yeah, no, you're
if
right.
Dua Lipa did movies or
Yeah.
Love Toy, it would be a
Love
hit.
Toy.
Exactly.
To answer Wes's question from a little bit ago, what do you think Gloria's impact is going to be? I think another part of her impact is validating and being a light for people who are bicultural. I've heard Gloria say in many interviews how she identifies proudly as both Cubana and American, and they don't compete for her. And they both coexist peacefully. And I really, really respect that because I think there's so many people who feel that depending on their family's history or their migration, that they feel not Latino enough or not American enough when they visit their families and their home countries, like back and forth. But I think that, Gloria is like proudly both. And so an example of potentially her impact for me is there's another artist, Becky G, who's Mexican American.
Yeah.
And she had an album that came out a while ago that really highlighted Mexican rhythms, and it was called Esquinas. And she said that she always felt like she was on the esquina of being both American and Mexican. And she identifies as a 2%er. Like she's 100% Mexican and 100% American, for example. Like she doesn't have to sacrifice either one of her identities. And I think that an artist like Gloria has paved the way for artists like Becky G, who's like several generations, I think a bit younger than Gloria at this point. So it's cool that there's artists who are proud, of the multifacetedness of their experience. It's not like that Gloria resisted becoming American when her family came here, or that she also forgot her Cuban roots. It's nice that she's able to claim both proudly. And I think that there's other artists and other people maybe who aren't even artists, just people in the United States who need to hear that message.
It's on that point that I want to segue into my final piece of the response to the question that was brought up, which is that lasting impact of Gloria is the fact what she and Emilio fought for behind the scenes in the business world. we know that she and Emilio had to fight record executives for their own musical development and artistic development, in a sense of commercial development, I should say, you know. But then we also know, and I'm so glad Callie is here representing the Shakira world, that she fought behind the scenes, behind business executive doors for Shakira, you know, for Shakira to have that opportunity.
Mhm.
So I think what Gloria did was super critical in the sense of she planted the idea, and she used herself as a proof of concept that you can invest in Latino artists and a Latino woman, no less, and you will have cultural, musical, and commercial success.
Preach.
So that's why I'm not a Swiftie, but I like what she does in the outside world of music, where she fights for women artists and legal rights. I really like what she does in that realm, but I trace that all back to what women like Gloria, because I'm sure there's other phenomenal women artists who are also business women, like Madonna. Madonna has the career she has because she's not a pushover. She's a
Right.
business
Yeah.
That's
well.
right.
So when you have folks like Madonna and you have folks like Gloria, and how they bring out their boss selves behind music executive doors. But we're talking about Gloria specifically and Latin music and the Latin influence in pop music here in the United States. Gloria stands singularly right now in terms of her impact and her legacy, not only in front of audiences, but behind music executive doors as well.
Totally. I saw an interview a while ago where Gloria was talking about Shakira's crossover, and obviously both of the Estefans were super supporters and facilitators of that happening behind the scenes. And Tommy Mottola was one of the CEO or the executives, I believe, of Sony Latin at that time. And he was like, okay, well, you have this Shakira artist. Maybe we can have her do just like 2 or 3 songs in English, and we'll just promote it that way. The rest can be
Oh
in Spanish.
yeah.
And Gloria was like, dude,
Gloria said
English
no.
speakers, in a more
Yeah.
eloquent way than I'm going to interpret it. She was like, dude, English speakers are not going to buy an album that only has like 2 translations or 2 new English songs. It's just not going to happen. Like,
Mhm.
let Shakira do her thing, like, and I can be here to support her and guide her, but like, it's possible, And I remember, even if any of you remember back in the day when Paulina Rubio did her album Border Girl, first of
Yeah.
all, I
I
was like,
loved it.
I know, I bought that and I played that, but I was like, this is not on the same caliber as Laundry Service. I'm like, I'm sorry, it's just not. And I mean, have we seen Paulina Rubio do a crossover or whatever? Like,
Right,
no, you
right.
know what I mean? And I think that it's just like Gloria had the right vision and was able to stand in those rooms and say the thing that needed to be said so that doors could be opened. And it's had a huge movement ever since in terms of like Latin success. And I remember Shakira, when she was doing Laundry Service, there was an interview where they were like, how does it feel to be part of the Latin boom right now? And, because that's when like Enrique Iglesias was very popular, Ricky Martin, Jennifer Lopez, Mark Anthony, et cetera, et cetera. And she was like, I don't want to be part of a boom, because what happens after a boom? You're left in the ashes. And she's like, I want to
Mm.
be here to stay. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
sure
and
that
she
people like
And
is.
she has.
and she
Yeah.
has.
And she
And I'm sure
has.
that Gloria was one of those voices in her head that told her that it was possible, because she saw that Gloria could do that. So
Mhm.
I'll
Yeah.
just keep giving Gloria her flowers because she
Yeah, but
deserves
going
it.
back to that conversation with Tommy Mottola, thank God that she fought tooth and nail, because it
Yes.
seemed like it was a very heated situation, and she fought tooth and nail for this to happen. And look at the success that
Yeah.
Shakira has had since that crossover.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's
And
crazy to think that some of the most talented, successful people had to fight. It's like, imagine trying to limit somebody like Gloria Estefan. Okay. It's like,
Right.
are you kidding me? I would be like, girl, you obviously know what you're doing. Just take the money and get back to me when your album's done. Like, I don't get who these people are in these rooms, but I'm glad that they
But
have stood up for themselves.
I'm glad that you said that, because it kind of goes back to what Angel was saying. And I think just in general, women have it hard, right? Women in this industry. But then as a Latin woman, I could just imagine that it's even harder
True, true.
to be someone like Gloria and stand your ground for what you think and know is right. We could just go on and on about
oh
this.
yeah, well
I know.
I'll let
I mean,
I could give
We
so
could
many
really dive deep.
examples. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
you know, Torpedo. For me, I wouldn't want to be at that end of of the discussion with her when she lets that Virgo out. Oh no.
Oh
Listen,
my
we
gosh.
already know. Okay, so for those that are listening, I'm sure you guys have followed along with this whole picadillo con pasas
Oh God.
debate. And the one thing about her is that she did not let it go until I tried the damn picadillo con pasas. And then that's the Virgo in her. She just kept on and kept on.
Relentless.
But I'm so glad that there are women out there like that because, and I'm glad, but it's sad that,
Yeah.
in this case, I mean, she could tell me to jump out the window right now, be like, okay, bye, I'm going. But it's so sad that women do have to be that cutthroat in the industry, whereas I'm sure some men don't have to be, you know, if that
For
makes sense.
sure. It makes a lot of sense, sadly. Yes.
It absolutely does because I'm thinking about somebody like Harry Styles, for example, who he said in an interview when he came out with this album, because this album is a lot more, his latest album, a lot more art housey. There's fewer singles on it. It's more like interludes. It's a hard sell for like the pop market, right? And he's like, oh, I can just make whatever sort of album I want, and like my fans are just going to be along for the ride. And that sort of free attitude of just like people are going to consume whatever I put out is it's a luxury, you know? And it's not as like what Angel Max was saying, as thoughtful as the formula that the Estefans and Shakira had to go through with their whole career. Like, I really think that Shakira is in her evolution tour era right now. If
Mhm.
Gloria fans can understand that,
Yeah.
where like she's in the middle of like she's done a few concept albums. Like I've said many times, Gloria is a concept album artist. She does albums that none of them sound the same. They're very like here's the seed for this album. And Shakira's done that too. Like she's done the She Wolf album, or she did Sale el Sol, that's a lot more tropical, where she finally like leaned into the sort of Latin side of her that everybody's like, oh, the Latin, Latin, Latin. She didn't do Latin music until 2011, like really. But you know, I think that Shakira and Gloria are sort of in this interesting parallel now, where people are letting them explore themselves a little bit more now. But I feel like there must have been years and years of them like fighting for that to happen. Whereas like a male artist doesn't necessarily have to put up their dukes as much.
I mean, Mi Tierra is a perfect example.
Hmm.
She wanted to come out with this Spanish language album, and Tommy Mottola didn't want her to
Yeah.
No.
because
And
of the success that she was having at that moment. So once again, going back to her standing her ground and fighting for what she knew was the right thing for her, because ultimately this is her legacy, you know, and it's paid off.
Tommy Mottola wrote, he has a couple books actually, and they're very interesting. I didn't read the whole entire book, but there's a book on Latin music, and he tells the story of Mi Tierra and when they presented it to him. They invited him over, and he specifically tells the story of Emilio and Gloria bringing him out, inviting him over, laying the whole blueprint down for the Mi Tierra album, and how he said, heck no, we're doing another pop album. This is what's, to continue the climb. And they fought, as we all know, and stood their ground, and look what happened. But it's a pretty interesting read if you guys check those books out.
Okay, so before we wrap up completely, we do have a segment on our show that has become a favorite of many of our people. Um I rarely do it because I don't really have like hot takes or whatever. But let it loose does not have to be a hot take. To let it loose, it could be something that has been weighing on you. It could be people have done gratitude, anything on your mind related to the episode or related to why you're here. It's time for our guests, Angel Max and Callie, if they're ready, to let it loose. Angel Max is not him. Okay.
I see Angel Max pointing at me on
right.
the video, so I'll go.
Okay.
First, I couldn't be on a Gloria podcast without giving a shout out to one of my favorite things I ever discovered on the internet, which was Rapuela.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I used to follow Emily Este-FAN on Instagram and would be obsessed when she would post those videos with her grandma.
Love that.
So I don't have a hot take about Rapuela, but I just needed to mention it while I'm here. This might be the only time I ever talk to other people who might have been equally obsessed.
Love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So shout out to her forever. And then I just have a small rant to share if this is a safe space.
Let's
is
do it.
Because at the time that we're recording this, Shakira just announced another run of shows through the United States. I am so privileged and am still paying off my tickets from last year, but I was so privileged to have seen Shakira 10 times last year.
Woo.
And now she's going to do another run of shows. And I was looking, and the tickets are so effing expensive. Like, can we just collectively bring Ticketmaster and burn it into the ground? Like, what needs to happen
Please.
for that to take place? Like, I was fortunate to get one ticket. I live in San Diego, so I'm like 2 hours from LA. So Shakira has 2 upcoming dates in LA now. So I know I'm going to find a way to get tickets to the second one, but the first one was $486.
What?
Like,
Oh my God.
that is just crazy to me. And then I'm originally from Minneapolis. So another Gloria tie-in is that she did the Super Bowl there.
Yeah.
So shout out to Minneapolis and Gloria being a Latina in the frigid cold of Minneapolis. But I saw that Lady Gaga at the time that we're recording this is about to do a show in Minneapolis next week. And the tickets on the floor are like $6,000 to $7,000 because
Oh
of
my God.
resale fees. And I just find that horrendous. I don't know what Gloria's tickets go for, so I hope that your fandom doesn't have to suffer like us Shaki fans do, but I just find that undefensible. Like, how can the CEO of Ticketmaster go to bed at night? Obviously just on stacks of gold, so they're probably sleeping very well, but you're conscious, like, how do you ethically go to bed at night knowing that fans are taking out debt, like avoiding other experiences just to be able to go to a show? I just find that horrendous. So I needed to get that off my chest.
Callie, I wish we knew what Gloria's ticket prices were if she would tour.
Oh.
Hello.
You would be okay. Your fandom seems like they would be happy to have the opportunity to complain about
That's
that.
right.
I'll
Okay.
sell my
Yes.
children.
I'll sell my cat.
Oh my gosh.
Angel, are you ready to let it loose?
Child, I am beyond ready. Callie,
Let's
first
do
of
it.
all, thank you. I just want to thank her for her Let It Loose. And also, I want to give props to all of you, Laura and Rob and Carlos, slash Torpedo and Gues, for just offering this fantastic platform for all of us as fanatics to come together, but also to bring along our cousins from the Shakira world.
Yeah.
So it's a
Yay.
real treat to
Yeah.
have you, Callie, here with us and to share your expertise and your experience as well. I want to begin with, first of all, Donna Summer was surfaced earlier. And I'm a 70s kid, and disco was a big thing, as I described earlier. So she's always been my 70s number one, and to this day, favorite of mine. And so she's had such a musical impact and influence on artists of today. And so that's why I like the fact that artists from Madonna to Kylie Minogue and so on, they all do their own version or spin of "I Feel Love." And so, Gues, you may be able to confirm this or not, but I don't think Gloria herself has done her own spin on it yet. I know the Gloria album came close to some tip of the hat to some songs like Diana Ross's song, but I don't think she's done her own version of or take on "I Feel Love." What do you think, Wes?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
No.
so Gloria, she's due for her own take on it because
Yeah.
most every other major artist, especially in concert settings or tours, they do that. So I would love to hear Gloria spin. And also, that brings me back to another point, which is that when my friends over the decades have asked me, well, why do you like Gloria so much? And I choose to answer. One of the reasons I give them is it's similar to my response when people ask me, why do you love Kylie Minogue so much? And because they bring happy music. I like their happy music, their
yeah.
brand of happy music. So I would love Gloria and Kylie to have a duet, a collaboration at some point. Because for me, not only are they contemporaries, because Kylie Minogue busted out in 1987 when I was a freshman in college with, Do the Locomotion. And so they've been contemporaries. However, I don't think, and maybe Wes knows a little better, they've had many opportunities to cross, intersect. I don't even know if they've met each other type of thing. But I would love for them to get together on some collaboration on a record, especially because of where they are currently. I know Carlos Torpedo, you were joking right now that Gloria's not doing a tour. Actually, I'm gonna push back and say she is doing a tour. She's doing a tour of collecting Grammys, baby. Okay.
That's right.
She's
That's
collecting some
right.
Grammys, man. That's her tour right now.
Yep.
So I think when Queen says I'm gonna stop collecting this hardware, I'm gonna get down to doing some tours. And then when I do this tour,
her and her Grammy
yeah,
mantle.
that's right, because you saw that it was beautiful. But I think in this future tour of hers, if we can manifest it, I would want her to do a couple of things. I listed one of them already, which is a Kylie duet and collaboration. I'd also like for her to, of course, you know how she has her, which is now kind of like a celebrated opening of hers, Donde está mi gente? You know,
Yeah.
I would like for her to come out one day at her future tour and just say, "Where are my gay middle-aged cat dads?" You know, because I'm over here about to turn 57 years old, and I've been with her since I was probably like 10, 11 years old, here in the Miami Sound Machine. And so just, you know what, girl, just come out and recognize it. I will feel so seen if she comes out in her new tour and says, "Where are my gay middle-aged cat dads?" I will feel seen, acknowledged, and just celebrated. So
And then it's just
Gloria,
you and me raising our hands and nobody else.
Also, the other point is I really want to push for a remixes collection. Wes and I think others were talking about that.
I'm all for that.
We gotta have a remixes collection. I mean, going back to the Miami Sound Machine days, especially, there's so much rich material there to bring forward into the 2020s. And so you know all the songs, but of course, Love Toy is gonna be
Love
be
Toy.
I also
Love
would
Toy 2026 remix. I can see
Absolutely.
it now.
I would also love remixes for Fall in Love, Live for Loving You, I've Got No Love, Go Away, I Wish You, more of those. I love those remixes as well. And I Just Want to Be Happy. I would love remixes for those as well, along with the classic Miami Sound Machine hits and songs. I also want to have her finally, at some point, win a Best Dance Recording Grammy. Because when that category busted out, Wes, you can double check me here, in the late 90s, she was at one point the most nominated artist in that category. She was nominated in 1999 for Heaven's What I Feel, 2000 for Don't Let This Moment End, 2002 for Out of Nowhere. She has not won that Best Dance Recording yet. Now we have the newer recording Grammy, which is the Best Pop Dance Recording. And I think in that category, she would win. But this needs to be acknowledged because not only has she been fantastic with ballads and pop and dance and salsa, and she's won Grammys in those areas, but the dance career of hers needs to be properly and formally acknowledged with in my opinion, a dance recording Grammy or a pop dance recording. Yeah, and my final note is I really wish that in this collection of remixes, that remixes for Medicine were included as well.
Oh, don't get us started. Don't get us started there.
No, don't pull at that thread. Don't pull at that thread. They haven't been released, but hopefully one day.
Yeah, so let's will that into existence. And then finally, my closing message is more so for Little Rob. Little Rob, I am indeed one of the oons gays.
No, 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 thank you.
I love her club music. I love her remixes. That's why I'm wanting to have her win this Best Dance Recording or Best Pop Dance Recording category because she has had a phenomenal and successful dance recording career as well.
You and I, we went on a road trip to the Rocky Mountains and we oons our asses all the way up those mountains.
I would rather oons if it was like original music. Like the Gloria album, I can oons to that. But oons to a song that's been out for a long time, I don't really need to
baby.
I'm with you. I'm with you, Rob. I'm not a big oons queer either. So you're not alone.
Thank you.
I actually do have a Let It Loose, and it's very, very short. My Let It Loose is I still to this day don't understand how is it that Gloria and Shakira don't have a duet. What's up with that?
Because they know that I would spontaneously combust if that were to happen.
It would be too powerful.
It would be too much for the masses. Yeah,
I need that to happen. I mean,
Yeah.
even if it's just a live performance,
That's what I was gonna say.
I would be okay with a live performance. But yeah, that needs to happen. And then I also want to say, Cally, you have been a day oneer. You have supported us and our show from day one. I see every time you like every single silly thing we post. And we could feel the love, we could feel the support. And I know that how I could just imagine how busy you are doing your podcast. So the fact that you take time out of your day to even just acknowledge us, I truly, we truly appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Oh,
And
you're so sweet. Of course, I have to pay mis respetos to our Tia's fandom. So happy to
the
help
Tia's
you.
fandom,
You
I
guys
love
on.
it. And then Angel, I mean, you already know. You're my sister from another mister, and you have been our biggest cheerleader all as well. And I mean, we could feel the love. We get excited every time that you send us, your thoughts on any episodes that we drop. So thank you so much for not only being a supporter, but for both of you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you
Thanks
guys
so
so
much.
much.
Thanks for having us.
Doing
What do
that
we say at the
XFI.
end? Get on your feet. Okay.
There's a part that Rob will go ahead
Yeah,
and
I'll do all the boring stuff next.
Okay.
Thank you once again to our two guests today. If you are a Shakira fan, or if you want to learn more about the Shakira fandom, please don't forget to listen to Shakipedia or Shakipedia. It is a bilingual podcast where originally they were going through every single song alphabetically, but they've come up with really cool ideas and different episode ideas throughout their many seasons, and I'm so proud of everything they've done. So please don't forget to give them a listen. If you like this episode, please don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, give us 5 stars, because please, thank you. If you have any ideas for future episodes, if you want to reach out to us in any way, letitloosepod@gmail.com or find us on Instagram and Twitter, and we will see you next time with another episode. Thanks, everybody.
Hasta luego.
Thank you for listening to Let It Loose, a Gloria Este-FAN podcast. Let It Loose was produced by Carlos, Rob, and Wes, with graphic design by Laura. Thank you to Gloria for bringing us all together. Subscribe, rate, and share the love, and join us next week for a brand new episode.